and welcome to Orion Today. I am Joe Johnson, returning to the set after missing 2 weeks ago, and I am joined by Steve Balanecki, who is going to be sitting in today.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the set.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Steve is usually behind the scenes, and we have him on the set today. How was your weekend? Anything exciting to report?
Oh, nothing really exciting to report. Worked on a couple little projects around, but other than that, just kind of vegged out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got back to the movie theater this past weekend. I haven't seen many movies in the theater over the past year or so, but John Wick got me back in the theater. I had to see that fourth installment. Have you seen any of the John Wick movies?
Have not seen any of them. So,
oh, they're
yeah,
so much fun, and they're just sort of mindless action flicks, but Keanu Reeves is so great, and the episode 4 just came out, and I had to be back in the theater to go see that, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah. Other things that kept me busy this weekend: the Lions races, the Lake Orion Lions. They have multiple fundraisers throughout the year, but this past weekend they had what's called their Lions races, which is a lot of fun. Businesses and community organizations are given a large cutout of a wooden lion, and it's their job to paint them and decorate them and put their logos and stuff on them. They sell tickets to the event. This year it was held at Boulder Point. It's the second year in a row that it was at Boulder Point, and you can see how creative people get with their lions. And so basically what they do is they treat it like a horse race almost. They throw these large dice, and the lions are lined up 6 at a time, and depending on what lane the lion is in, when they roll that number, the lion advances. And look at our ONTV lion took first place in the second race and got a little medal there. And the way they raise funds at this event is people will bet on the outcome of the race, and they give odds and everything. And so, so it's a lot of fun. Great turnout this year, and it's a great fundraiser for the Lions Club. And so like I said, this is the second year that it returned to Boulder Point. It started, I think, around 2015 at the old Knights of Columbus Hall on Orion Road. And then COVID, of course, rolled around, and they had to put it on hiatus for 2 years in a row. Also, the VFW Hall had been sold during that time as well, so they had to find a new location to hold it. So they worked out something with Boulder Point, and they had a really great fundraiser on Saturday night. It was a lot of fun.
Looks like they had plenty of lions there as well, decorated. So
yeah, I think they said there's a total of 24 wooden lions that were racing, and it's Lake Orion's own version of the Kentucky Derby. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. I always get a kick out of covering that. So much happening in the community nowadays. Chris Barnett had his State of the Township address recently and addressed a lot of things. First and foremost is the GM improvements that are taking place over there on Silver Bell Road. GM has invested millions of dollars in the GM plant, which I'm sure is a huge relief to residents here in the area. As a matter of fact, they're talking about improving Silver Bell Road. This is a little clip we put together for the State of the Township address. And they're going to put, they got a, what do they call that? They got a $7 million grant from the U.S. House Appropriations Committee to fix 2.6 miles of Silver Bell, Giddings, and Brown Road. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's not going to take place this year. It's going to take place next year. But I don't know if you've driven on Silver Bell Road lately. It is in not good condition.
No, it will definitely tell you if your car has any rattles whatsoever. It will definitely tell you. Yeah.
That's right.
And it will try your suspension as well. So.
Yeah, and GM was really concerned because they had a number of employees who would come into work and end up with flat tires because they would hit potholes that would dent rims and flatten tires. So Orion Township made sure it was a priority to get that stretch of road fixed to lure investment in businesses into the community.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching the construction on GM's property on that building going up. I can't figure out the exterior walls though, because they look like they're prefab.
Yeah,
almost, and I don't know. I have not seen them put up, but I've seen them after they're up.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see them close that facility in.
Yeah, it's amazing how soon that construction started after their announcement. And as part of the State of the Township address, Chris Barnett and I went into the GM Orion Assembly plant to interview some staff and workers there. And it's really a fascinating process to see the bolt on the assembly line and how they're going to be adapting that technology to the new Silverado, I believe it is.
They're expanding it to come out with electric pickup truck. It's interesting.
It's Orion Township's on the map. We're in the forefront of these electric vehicles that are going to be coming out and taking over the world. I heard recently that the Camaro is going to cease production as we know it, as the automobile industry focuses on electric vehicles. So, is it the end of the muscle car?
Yeah, well, Dodge just announced that the last internal combustion engine Challenger was produced, and they're working on an electric version of a muscle car now. So,
wow.
It's going to be interesting to see what transpires and what the cars are going to be looking like too.
Well, I saw for the first time, coincidentally, just about a week ago, I was behind a car that had a Mustang logo on it, and I'm like, that ain't no Mustang. And it was their electric Mustang out on the road.
That's an SUV.
Yeah. I was a little surprised by that. It wasn't very sporty looking, but I guess this is the way we're going.
Yeah, there were a number of people when they first came out with that, especially the diehard Mustang owners. They said, "Why did you put that on an SUV?" It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting the direction that it's going. Speaking of investment in Orion Township, I don't know if you heard, but the Orion Township got a grant recently to do some improvements over to the Orion Center where we are sitting right now. And in the banquet facility over there, they're going to be adding a deck to the outside of the building. Yeah, they got a grant, a $250,000 grant that was secured by the county, I think it was. And the grant program was to improve senior centers throughout Oakland County. And Orion Township was one of the recipients, and they're going to use that money to build an outdoor deck where they can host gatherings and events and things like that. So we're going to be seeing some improvements fairly soon here at the Orion Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see that.
Yeah, definitely. I think the seniors are going to love that.
Yeah, I think so. Have outdoor barbecues and that kind of stuff out there.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I might go spend some time out there.
Sure.
Speaking of growth and development, all kinds of new businesses have been coming to Orion Township to call this township their home. And we had an unusual one just open up this past Friday. I was over there to cover their ribbon cutting ceremony. It is called Joyology. And I asked the manager, I said, does this mean your staff are experts in the field of joy? And he said, that's exactly what we do. And you'll see what I mean when you watch this package I put together on the grand opening of Joyology just off of M24 near Culver's on the south end of town.
On Friday, March 24th, representatives of the Chamber of Commerce gathered at Lake Orion's newest marijuana dispensary, Joyology, located off of M24 near Dutton Road, to celebrate their official grand opening with a ribbon-cutting ceremony.
I feel honored that actually it's something I can do without the stigma, without people looking down and frowned upon. It's like, it's sad that it was once illegal, and now that more and more communities are opting in, it's bringing in more tax revenue. We have a location in Centerline. Centerline just received $500,000 in tax revenue in for last year's sales, and I can only imagine what Orion's going to do next year and the years moving forward, just because the community's great. They're loyal people here. And honestly, it's a great atmosphere, great vibes.
Visitors enjoyed music, giveaways, a food truck, and there was even a glass-blowing demonstration just outside the entrance. Joyology offers a wide variety of products to everyone from recreational users to those seeking pain relief.
We offer everything. So cannabis, even though it's been around forever, it's very new as far as like different items. before we used to just smoke weed. Now there's edibles, there's tinctures, topicals. They even have frozen dried fruit that are, infused. So now we can have healthy snacks, not just, sugary snacks or whatnot. But it's endless opportunity for the consumer to actually be able to find something that fits their needs, because not everybody wants to get high, and not everybody needs creams, and not everybody eats edibles. So it's like whatever you could think of, we have that here.
In 2018, the Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act was passed with 56% of the vote, legalizing marijuana for recreational use. State licensed sales began in December of 2019.
First of all, it's legal in the state of Michigan, these groups that we've attracted here are some of the best in the business, so we're really excited about that aspect of it. But how it benefits our community is there are lots of ways. They're employing tons of people here. They're supporting the grow facilities that exist in our community. And the unique thing about where we situated these in our community is we didn't have them on the main roads. Like, we had a very strict ordinance. They had to be in industrial park zoning, which this is where we sit today. But even beyond that, one of the things we put in our ordinance is they have to contribute. They already are going to go above and beyond. They've already done that here. But each facility will contribute $50,000 a year to the Orion Community Foundation that we can use for all kinds of charitable work in the community.
For more information, you can visit joyologyorion.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram as Joyology Lake Orion. In Orion Township, this is Joe Johnson reporting for ONTV News.
So yeah, another marijuana dispensary here in Orion Township. The first one that came to the community was Live, a little farther north on M24. Those places are enormously popular, and since Michigan voters legalized marijuana here in the state, the township and the village have been reaping the benefits of the tax money that's been coming in and the contributions that those places are making to the community. So
absolutely,
you might as well make the best of the situation.
Exactly.
So,
take advantage of it.
Exactly.
Sure.
All right, we are joined here by some guests from our VFW, Post 334, correct?
Yes.
We have Jim Hubbard and Chuck Haskin joining us now. They're no strangers to our ONTV studios. We see them quite a bit because they're so active in the community. The first thing we want to promote with you guys here today is you have your Buddy Poppy program coming up. You may have seen these guys out and about selling poppies, and let us know when is that happening again, and what can residents expect to see out there?
I'll have Chuck talk about that if you don't mind.
But we're pulling up a little bit earlier this year. We're going to start the last weekend in April, so the 28th, 29th, and 30th. Then the following weekend in May, which is the 5th, 6th, and 7th. When we go out, we'll be on the streets of Lake Orion and Oxford. We'll be at Kroger's. We'll be at Ace Hardware in Lake Orion. We'll be at Sam's Club. Any place that can have us, we will be. But our success, what we do is based on all these stores letting us, because now we don't have to be on the streets so much as you were in the past. And because right now Kroger's is one of our main places to go out and do our solicitations, and all the money we raise during this time, the 2 weekends, has to support us for the next year. So it's our major fundraiser that supports all the programs that we help support in the areas. One of our major programs is over in Eaton Rapids, Michigan. We have what's called the VFW National Home for Children. And in there we have up to 100 families from across the nation living. Homes were built in 1950s.
Yeah, they started in 26, but they were built through the
years. And beautiful homes, but it's a community within a community. And as of today, we have 45 children there. And these are veterans or veterans' families that lost a parent and is having trouble making life's ends meet. So they come out and they live here for a while.
Wow.
And they educate the children. One of the requirements of it's going to have children. So they go out and educate the children, help the parents. It could be one or both. And give them an education to help them when they eventually leave the home to be able to start up. And what the VFW does is they pay all the expenses of these homes. So all the furniture for these people go with them. When they leave, they take the furniture with them. Wow. So when we get a new person comes in there, say comes into the Michigan House or Ohio House or whatever it is, you have to get a new stove, refrigerator, kitchen tables, beds, linens, everything that you would buy in your household, we have to buy for their household. The only thing the people are responsible for is their own cell phones. Everything else there, all the food they have for their families, everything is supplied through the VFW. So that's one of the major ones we support. And then we just had this last week, we donated $300 to Girl Scouts cookies. You see them all around town. Yeah, they're around. And we had one out in White Lake that was doing a program for overseas troops. So we donated $300 to buy some cookies to ship out and give to the troops overseas. And you can imagine you're being on station over there and eating Army food or Navy food or whatever, and get a little thing at home and see the Girl Scout cookies, because everybody loves Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, I've been hearing them talk about that on the radio, where you can purchase Girl Scout cookies and then direct them to include that when they ship them overseas.
Yep,
What
you
a
can
great
do
idea.
that. Yeah,
Wonderful idea.
Yeah, it was a good one.
That's
So
fantastic.
And we get into local schools that do things with all-night parties and things like that. And we help support all those.
Yeah,
And,
just recently we held our food drive in February here, and they played a significant role in helping support the Fish Food Pantry in Oxford. The Fish Food Pantry has an Adopt-A-Shelf program where community organizations or individuals can come in and adopt a shelf for the entire year, and that's exactly what the VFW has done. You want to talk about that a little bit?
We've done this for how many years now?
7 or 8 years.
7 or 8 years. We adopt the pasta shelf. And for $1,200, it keeps that shelf stocked for the whole year. In fact, the Fish organization today has 2 more shelves available to the community. If you want to go out and sponsor, one's a spice and the other one's a muffin shelf. But if the audience hasn't heard of Fish, it's one of the best kept secrets around this area. It's out on 24 just before Drainer Road in Oxford. It's got their name, Fish, on it. And a lot of people think it's a fish store.
Right.
But the Fish itself is an international symbol for a place to come in and get something to eat when you're when you're traveling. It started over in England. But these fish things happen all around the world, and this is one in our Lake Orion, Oxford area. But Fish is having a major food drive in May with the post office, May 13th. And so they'll be coming to houses, to their main stores, be picking up all kinds of foods. And they're looking for volunteers to come over and help them unload the trucks as they come in, and also help stock the shelves. They're going to move from a 2-shift operation to a 3-shift operation to try to handle the volume of people coming to Fish right now. This past March, I think it was March 1st, a federal program that's been in place for the last 3 years went away. It was enacted to help people during COVID to have food on their tables. COVID went away, federal program went away. A lot of those people got free food are now out on the street looking for food again. So Fish business is sky moving. And
for those of you who don't understand how the post office food drive works, on what is it, May 13th? Did you say?
May 13th.
May 13th.
Saturday.
You're asked to. They'll provide bags, but you can use any bag. You fill it up with canned goods, non-perishable items, and hang that at your mailbox, leave it at your mailbox, and then as the letter carriers make their rounds, if they see bags out there, they'll collect them and deliver them back to the post office here in Lake Orion. And I've shot video the past few years where you'll see a small army of volunteers bringing that in and putting them in carts, and then the people over at Fish come and collect that and take it back to their headquarters in Oxford. And that's a major one. That helps keep their shelves stocked for at least a few months throughout the year. So that's a great program.
They also enjoy cash donations to the fish organization too, because they can take that monies and they have special places they can purchase food at a better price than we can.
Yeah.
So they're more than willing to take a cash donation for the fish organization, and that makes it easier for them too, that they're not wrestling big cans all the time, but they can purchase what they really need.
Right.
And that does help the community. It's all about keeping the community well and healthy. What better program could you have than furnishing food that the community needs at this time?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's interesting, you mentioned it a moment ago, during those COVID years,
Yep.
you would think the need would be greater, but it was actually the opposite, where you said the government was sort of taking care of people during those COVID years. Now that same support is not coming,
there.
Yeah.
and we're all dealing with inflation, and
Yep.
the cost of groceries is skyrocketing, and now the need is greater than ever. So fish
Greater than
needs
ever.
your support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, so if anybody wants to sponsor a shelf and or wants to volunteer in May, they call 248-628-3933, and that's the phone number for fish, and the operator there will take care of it. But we felt we first was going to go over and help stock, pay for the food on a shelf. And then we heard about this adopt a shelf, where we just give them money, as Jim said, and they go out and get the food at the best
better
prices.
price.
Yeah, and
Save
keep it-
money, help the community more.
Yeah.
And I can imagine how popular that pasta shelf is.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's easy to prepare a meal, it's tasty, and I'm sure that stuff is flying off the shelf.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
More than ever.
One of the most popular ones they have.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but the reason we can do that, enables us to do that, is our Buddy Poppy program.
Right.
So if we didn't have the community support on donations for our Buddy Poppies, then
lot of
we wouldn't
things
be able
wouldn't
to do
get
all
done.
of this. In fact, we have one new thing that we're working on right now. We'll have available by the time of the first Poppy Day in April. Is last few years it's been getting more and more people coming up, and they don't carry cash anymore.
Yeah, that's a problem, yeah.
huge
So
problem.
what we used to get used to get pennies and nickels, dimes, and today's inflation's dollars and such. And we are working with PNC Bank on developing a QR code that we'll have available. Maybe we'll add it to our signs, and we have a sheet of paper to hand to somebody. And if they have a credit card, they can do the QR code and fill out the information, and automatically it'll go into our Buddy Poppy fund.
Yeah,
So hopefully
That's the
that'll help
future.
up. Yeah, it's the new future that's
Yep.
going on.
yeah.
They don't carry
So-
much cash anymore.
Well, in the meantime, you know, you might want to hit the ATM and just keep some cash on
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Now,
That would help.
I did that for the Girl Scouts. I knew it was Girl Scout cookie season, so I made sure I had some cash in my
Absolutely.
wallet. And of course, I ran into them at Kroger and loaded up and gave them a nice little tip. You could do the same thing for the Buddy Poppy program. If you know that it's right around the corner, which it is, keep some cash on you and make a donation when you see these guys at these businesses handing out the Buddy Poppies. Now, you've gotten away from standing in intersections. Did that
trying.
become dangerous, or
Well,
what?
we're all aging out. 15 years ago, we were all spring chickens running
Yeah.
around, but now that we're getting in our late 70s and stuff, pretty much all the VFWs, the Vietnam era veterans, and a few Korean. We are fortunate to still have a couple of World War II veterans still with us, but a lot of posts don't. And again, the age is a lot when you can't jump around in the streets like we used to. But it's more, it gives us all an easier route. Some needs to sit down at tables. Some can stand for the 6-8 hours a day we ask to do. But it's just that we're getting older, but we need to fulfill our obligation. And the obligation is our communities, wherever we're at. Every post does the same thing. Try to help every community that we're in.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about.
But you get out there in the road, try to stand between the cars and that.
Yeah,
it gets
always
dangerous.
risky.
It gets
Yeah,
dangerous out there. So there's a few streets we still do, because they're very popular areas for giving
Sure.
money. And one of the ones I know the best is down by the Orion Veterans Memorial.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
still do that.
Bob Watros will be down there, and
great.
for the 2 weekends he's there.
Yeah.
So,
Now, speaking of the memorial,
Yep.
I want to kind of wind things down by talking about the events you have planned for Memorial Day weekend. I know that's a big weekend here in Lake Orion. People show their support and love for our people who served. What's planned for Memorial Day in Lake Orion?
Well, one of the first things we do is we have the 5K run and the 5-mile run. You know, there's 2 different races at the same time, run or walk. That starts out things, and that's when we donate flags and things like that. It's all about keeping the area knowing that we're there, you know.
Yeah.
So patriotism is a big part of our organization, and that's what we're there doing, just the simple things.
And that
But
5K run helps generate some revenue.
yes, it does.
For
and
the
that
upkeep
goes
of
through the
memorial.
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 They help the
Keep
memorial.
what you've been doing.
Everything at the memorial is paid for by the donations of the community. What a wonderful memorial we have, and it's all supported and paid for, everything there. So, and that's what it's been from the very beginning. We get a little money, we get a new statue or something that has to be done at the memorial. So it's all community supported, the memorial is. Then we have a program that we also have speakers and whatnot at usually about 1 o'clock, you know.
Yeah.
And they have the parade in town. It's probably close to 11 or something like that. And then, but the whole day is planned pretty much around veterans and the support and
Remember veterans. Yep.
in what we are supposed to do as veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's several ceremonies that take place earlier in the day.
Yep.
East Lawn Cemetery has
Yep.
a little ceremony. Children's Park, they do a
Absolutely.
water ceremony for those lives lost at sea, where they throw a wreath into Paint Creek. And then, like you said, the parade, and then the big ceremony at the Veterans Memorial. So come on out, show your support
Absolutely.
to the guys who fought for this country.
Yeah, and this year at the memorial we have a couple of new place cards over, and the Victory Garden that was been out there and the community so well enjoyed was been totally revamped and redone, and it's totally gorgeous.
Yep.
Just gorgeous what they did.
Yeah, we could thank the folks over at the Home Depot Foundation who have done numerous improvements over at the memorial, including the band shell, I guess you can call it, the stage. And they did have the wooden Victory Garden over there. They've replaced that with a more
Masonry,
robust,
right.
Victory Garden,
We didn't
and the new
really-
signage too, with to honor the Rosie the Riveters and the women who
Yep.
served.
When was served, and
So-
it looks fantastic the way
Oh,
it was
yeah.
executed there.
Yeah,
So-
what a beautiful memorial. I mean, you know, I was there at the beginning when they broke ground on that thing.
Absolutely.
And watching it evolve over time and adding different components and monuments over the years.
The latest are the flags. Isn't that
yeah,
one
yeah.
wonderful thing? That's the latest thing that we've done there. Promote
Military flags are on the
service
outskirts.
flags, you know.
Yeah.
And even the Space Force.
That's
which
right.
is just
That's
getting off the
included, too.
ground.
Yeah.
We have a flag for it. So it's what we do.
Yeah, yeah.
It gives the community some place to gather in important times, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah. So where does the VFW gather? Do you have a headquarters, or where do you meet?
right now we are up on Drainer Road at the Lake Point Community Church.
Okay.
Yep. We were at other places, but this we've kind of settled into. It's a very nice setting, and they have a nice kitchen. The auxiliary provides a meal prior to our meetings. We all, I think, because it gets all of us together, have a little camaraderie, have a good meal provided by the auxiliary, and then we go into our meeting sessions, usually about 7 o'clock.
Okay.
It takes an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes to discuss all the different things we're doing, from car shows to the different things in the Voice Democracy program, Patriots Pin program that we just finished up with. So it's just a lot of things that we do.
That's great. And you have a Facebook presence, and how else can anyone get a hold of you if they have any questions?
Well, they can call us directly.
Absolutely.
your best number has been calling Jim. Your number.
Yeah, my phone's on just about every piece of. I've been the commander now 10
we
or 12
do it that
years,
way
so.
because we don't have a post where people just can walk up and see where we're at.
Yeah, yeah.
Where you see us more is just when we're out in the community.
Yeah.
And but if they can either get us, we have Jim's phone number that everybody calls, or we have a post office box.
Yep.
That they can send things. If somebody wants to make a donation to us,
sure.
they can go out there, and it's Post Office Box 652, Lake Orion, Michigan, 48362.
Okay.
And we never turn down a donation yet.
Sure,
and
sure.
we turn around and give. But we have one thing that we do is we volunteer at funerals. We go do the gun salute and the bugle. And our honor guard goes up the third Tuesday every month to Great Lakes National Cemetery, where we spend the whole day up there doing funerals. And this past month, which was last week, we did 4 funerals. It's kind of a slow period of the year with the switch from caskets to cremations. That a lot of people keep the cremations till the weather gets better.
Mm-hmm.
But once we get going again in probably in April going onward, we'll go out there, we'll probably be doing 13 to 16 funerals a day.
Every day.
But if you haven't been out to the National Cemetery up in Holly, Michigan, it is one gorgeous place, and it's well maintained, and their business is great. They're expanding, and they're expanding, and we're in by I think 2 years they're almost going to double the size of that cemetery, and it's way past what they thought they were going to do.
Yeah.
So the last meeting we had with the administration up there, they're running at a volume about 3 times of what was the original plan.
Yeah.
But everybody found out about it, and so veterans, instead of being on the local cemeteries, they all go up to Great Lakes National Cemetery, which covers all the people in the state of Michigan. We have another one over in Grand Rapids called Fort Custard. But there's nothing compared to what we're doing up here in Holly.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, guys, thanks for coming down, and thanks
We
for all the
appreciate
good
the
work you
ability.
do in the community. And
appreciate you having us.
yeah, and we'll keep spreading the word and let people know when you're out and about. And if we don't see you before, we'll see you on Memorial
And
Day.
if anybody would
Memorial
like
Day?
to join, we certainly can use the extra hand.
All right. All
Absolutely.
right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to continue with a performance from the always talented Bob Lowe, who does a show here at ONTV and performs during our food drive. So here's a little performance by Bob Lowe.
Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I got a feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared of falling off of my chair. Don't know how I'm gonna get down the stairs. Clowns to the left and me jokers to the right. Here I am stuck in the middle with you. Yeah, stuck in the middle with you. And I'm wondering what it is I should do. It's so hard to keep the smile on my face. Losing control, I'm all over the place. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am stuck in the middle with you. Well, you started off with nothing. Now you proud yourself made man. And your friends, they all come calling. Slap you on the back and say, please, please. I try to make some sense of it all. I can see it makes no sense at all. Is it cool to go to sleep on the floor? I don't think came here tonight. Got a feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared of falling off my chair. Don't know how I'm gonna get down the stairs. Now there's clowns to the left and jokers to the right, and here I am stuck in the middle with you. Yeah, I'm stuck in the middle with you. Whoa. Stuck in the middle with you. Stuck in the middle with you.
The talented Bob Lowe. Do you know he makes his own guitars? The guitars that you see him play on the show.
I'd heard he does that.
Yeah,
So
and
I don't know how many he's made.
I don't know what's in his personal collection. I think he sells quite a few of them. But you know, it's interesting. He's been doing that for such a long time. And when I came back out here to Lake Orion in 2011, I kind of lost touch with him a little bit. And I happened to be at Great Lakes Crossing one day, sitting in the food court. And I saw Bob and his wife sitting in the food court, and went up, said hi, and said, you know, I'm back here in Lake Orion. You want to come back out and start your show up again? He said, let's do it. So that was about a decade ago.
Wow.
And we're still doing it. And he recorded some content for our food drive just recently, and we love getting him here in the studio. It's always a fun day at work when he's in here performing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So Easter's right around the corner. As a matter of fact, it's on April 9th this year. We'll be closed here at ONTV on Good Friday for that 3-day weekend. You have any Easter plans that weekend?
Getting together with family.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
me too. I just got the invitation to come out for Easter dinner on Sunday.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Of course, the community is already in Easter mode. Orion Township recently had their Bunny Bop event, which is always a fun event. There's 3 sessions with 50 children per session, plus family members. So you can imagine the number of people who are here at the Orion Center for the Bunny Bop. Every family who arrives gets a little gift bag that has some crafts and coloring pages. A photo opportunity with the Easter Bunny, which is always entertaining to watch because some kids take to the Easter Bunny, other kids don't want to have anything to do with them, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, we had, when my nephew was preschool, they all came out and we'd gone to a restaurant and they had the bunny greeting. Mm-hmm. He definitely was not having anything to do with that bunny.
Now, the first session where they did the Easter egg hunt, they had to move it indoors for the first session because there was a blizzard outside. The second session, they moved outside. You could see the snow on the ground, but that doesn't faze the kids at all. They're out there having a good time. All the little plastic eggs have little goodies and candy and little trinkets inside, and that's out behind the Orion Center right there. And they sell out quickly on this event, and it's always a good time and a huge turnout, and the kids have a blast. You saw the bubbles earlier. Alicia, who's one of our ONTV volunteers and producers, she's a bubbleologist and blows big bubbles at Orion Township events. So that was another hugely successful Bunny Bop. There was a couple years in a row, of course, they weren't able to do it because of COVID, but
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they brought it back, and it's always a good time and get you into that mindset for Easter, and that spring is right around the corner.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, I just got an email today, I think it was, that Canterbury Village is going to be having an Easter event this weekend, I believe, where they do a helicopter drop. They drop, I think, marshmallows or something from a helicopter. So check out the Canterbury Village website for the date and time of their Easter event. But I do believe it's this weekend. So that's a popular event. Canterbury Village, just about every weekend they have something going on there, some sort of expo or event. I just saw recently they're having a superhero event coming up soon. And I ran into Keith Aldrich, who owns Canterbury Village. I ran into him at an event in Livonia, of all places. It was an event called FantasticCon, where you could meet comic book creators, celebrities, lots of vendors selling all kinds of collectibles and stuff like that. And I ran into Keith and I said, "What are you doing here?" And looks like Canterbury Village is going to be planning and organizing their own comic book expo very, very soon.
Oh boy.
So that's kind of exciting. Be right up the street from us. Another major thing that's happening in the community is the DDA is looking into buying a parcel of property on M24 where the Orion Lumber Yard stands right now. And if they do move forward and purchase it, I'm not sure where they stand on that right now. They're going to be developing it as an extension of the downtown. Molly Lalone was recently in our studio, and she sat down with Tracy Woodrum, who has the podcast called Tea with Tracy. And here's what Molly had to say.
Hello, and welcome back to Tea with Tracy, coming to you on Tuesdays, spilling relevant tips, trends, and talking all things real estate, home ownership, and community related. Well, today is actually a special edition series, so we are going to be kicking off a new series. I have with me Executive Director of the Lake Orion DDA, Molly Lalone. Hello, Molly.
Hello. Thank you, Tracy, for having me here today.
So excited to have you. Now, we have a full series where we are going to cover what is the DDA, what does it do, where does it get its funding from, and a whole lot of other great stuff. But first, today, we're going to be talking about an exciting project that is coming up that we want you to have more details on, and time is of the essence, so we want to make sure you have those before we get into the rest of it. So yeah, without further ado, Molly is here, and we are going to be talking about the Lake Orion Lumberyard project. I know there's been a lot going out there, on over the years, like, oh, what is the Lake Orion Lumberyard going to be? And, what's coming there? And we've heard lots of different things as to what might be going in there. But the best news I heard was the day that I learned that the DDA is looking at becoming developing that space and developing it for our community, which that was the most exciting news that I have heard.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
So tell us a little bit about it. So what is this project? What is the Lake Orion Lumberyard project?
All right. Well, everybody, if you think about Atwater and Broadway, Leo's is on the corner, and right behind it, that's Lake Orion Lumberyard. And it's been a true acting lumberyard for many generations. It's family-owned business, and they're ready to retire.
Okay.
And that property is right at the south edge of downtown. And we would like to take over the property and develop it for dedicated event space. We would like to incorporate with Leo's to make it a little safer at that intersection by reducing the number of driveways that are going into that area.
That would be great.
And I'll talk a little bit more about the design charrette, but we had some public participation, and we found out that everyone wants a dedicated event space, and that's the perfect place for it.
It is. Oh my gosh, it's so great, and it's really close to the Paint Creek Trail. I mean, everything is kind of there. It's right off of Meeks Park. I mean, there's I'm just really, really excited about this project. So what are the reasons? How did this come to be? I've heard some different rumors, of what it might become, if it was purchased by developers, which, developers obviously, if they're looking to purchase a space, they're purchasing it so that they can benefit themselves in some way, right?
Yeah, and make a profit.
Yeah, make
that's
a
their
profit.
Business. It's their business to make a profit.
That's what they're looking to do. So the DDA looking to purchase this property and develop it for the community. There is, it's for us. Like the DDA is looking to purchase it for.
So if things move ahead according to plan, we're going to see some major changes in that area of Lake Orion, not only with the lumber yard, but on the west side of M24 with some development that's going to be going on over there. Interesting little tidbit about the lumber yard. I found this out fairly recently that behind the fencing and everything at the lumber yard, there's these really old-looking red wood structures that look like they're sort of falling in on themselves. And I don't know if the lumberyard is currently using those for storage or what, but I did find out that they're historical in nature. That back in the day, Lake Orion used to provide ice for a good part of Metro Detroit. And so when winter would roll around, they would go out to Lake Orion and cut big chunks out of the ice, and they would store them in those wooden structures that are now on the grounds of the Lake Orion lumber yard. So I don't know if they can be preserved or what the plans are for that, but I sure would like to get over there and document that before they get bulldozed. But yeah, there is a little bit of history with that property there.
Yeah, it was interesting. I know I'd seen my uncle had a place over on Lake Erie, and near a fishery, and they would do the same thing. They'd cut up the ice in the winter and so forth, and they actually stored the ice in sawdust.
Oh, right.
Okay, so being a lumber yard and sawdust, and plenty of sawdust there, so that fits right in.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the old Three Stooges shorts where they had to deliver ice up a long flight of steps, and by the time they got to the top of the steps, it was a little bitty ice cube. But yeah, what a different time back then.
Absolutely.
We keep mentioning our food drive that we did in February. Well, one of the things we did during our week-long food drive is all of the staff had to put together a cooking segment that we aired during the first day of our food drive. We are now repurposing those cooking segments and calling it the ONTV cooking show. Here's an example of one of those segments that we did last month.
Hi everybody, it's your friend Monique Maxim, and it's great to be here in the ONTV kitchen. And today I'm going to show you how to make a charcuterie rose. Now, charcuterie boards have become very popular, and it's just a fancy name for meat and cheese tray. And what I have here is just some salami. Now this is hard salami, but you can make different roses using Genoa salami if you like that. And the trick to it is you really want a small rim glass. The smaller the rim, I think the better. Now, I don't have my delicate champagne flute with me today, but you can also do this with a champagne flute, and that looks lovely as well. But so easy. All you do is take your deli cut and press it around the rim of the glass. And just keep doing that, overlapping them just a little bit, and you'll see in no time at all, they'll start to form to your glass and take a little shape. See, as soon as I have the first 4 down there, they'll kind of start sticking to each other. And then you just want to overlap again at the seams. Now, I have gotten rave reviews. I've done this all the way from Michigan to Florida. Everybody loves a deli cut floral rose on their charcuterie board. But the one thing that I do want to advise you is if it's not all consumed in that day, just put it back in a plastic bag, but don't expect it to be a beautiful rose and pull apart petal by petal like this one will. When we get done and present it, it'll pull apart petal by petal, which is just another fantastic part of this easy deli cut floral. So you see there, it's starting to come together, and they stay down there, around there with no trouble. So before we do the presentation, I'm going to make a second one here on a different size glass. And any kind of glass will work, just really the smaller the opening. And like I said, I didn't bring my delicate champagne flute. So be mindful, if it's a very delicate glass, you're going to handle it a little bit. So maybe not the family heirloom champagne flute. So we're almost done here, just overlapping as we go around. And you can make these as full as you want. You can use different types of salami. This is the hard, but like I said, again, there's the Genoa. So I'm going to go ahead and move a little bit of my grapes here so that I can present this on my charcuterie board. Move a few of my grapes over to here. And I'm going to go ahead and do this one here. And here we go for the big reveal. You just flip it over and take it off, and there it is. And then you can take each petal piece by piece and make your little snack, however you want to put an apple and some nuts and maybe a little peanut butter in there, and wrap it up, and that's going to be delicious and amazing treat. So let's flip this one over here. And there we have a simple and beautiful charcuterie board, and I hope you'll give it a try at making your own very soon.
Thanks to Monique Maxim for hosting that segment. You know what's funny? A couple years ago, I was shooting video at Bitter Tom's in downtown Lake Orion, and they were talking about some of their specialties there. And I remember the owner came out with what she described as a charcuterie board, and I was like, oh, what now? I had never heard the phrase charcuterie board until just a few years ago. Now that's the big thing. Everybody does a charcuterie board. And I got to say, I love them.
Yeah.
So
nice way to pick
I've been
and
eating
choose.
charcuterie without the board for years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pick and choose.
That's right.
Yeah,
Love some
exactly.
meat and cheese.
Yes.
Our last segment of the day, we want to talk about some exciting upcoming events in Lake Orion. And here's Nina with this week's Quick Hits.
Are you ready to help your child cultivate their green thumb? On Friday, the Orion Library will be hosting Upcycled, featuring canned planters from 2 o'clock p.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. In this program, your child will decorate recycled tin cans and transform them into homes for houseplants. Once decorated, your child will leave with a newly propagated plant to begin growing their own. This program is suitable for grades 3 through 5. For more information, visit www.orionlibrary.org. Ready, set, read! Join the Orion Library for their first ever Family Battle of the Books. In this fun competition, you and your family will have 1 month to read 5 books. Then test your knowledge and recall skills with a Kahoot trivia quiz battle against other families at the end of the month. Registration opens on Saturday at 9 o'clock a.m. and closes on April 29th at 11 o'clock a.m. Book titles will also be revealed on Saturday, April 1st. For more information and to register, visit www.orionlibrary.org. The Orion Library will be hosting Bounce and Boogie on Saturday from 11 o'clock a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. In this program, your toddler or preschooler will engage in fun activities that help support their physical literacy and fundamental motor skills to promote a healthy, active lifestyle. For more information, visit www.orionlibrary.org. On Saturday, join the Orion Library for all-age Makerspace from 2 o'clock p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Come play, experiment, and learn with a variety of creative technology projects suitable for adults, teens, and children. For more information, visit www.orionlibrary.org. Now let's take a look at this week's weather. Wednesday's forecast is calling for a mix of rain and snow showers with a high of 44 and a low of 22. Mostly sunny on Thursday with a high of 44 and a low of 36. Rain and thunderstorms on Friday with a high of 60 and a low of 46. Then AM showers on Saturday with a high of 49 and a low of 28, and partly cloudy on Sunday with a high of 50 and a low of 41. That's it for this week's ONTV Quick Hit. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Lot of things happening in the Lake Orion community, and with spring right around the corner, there's it's just going to keep going and going. It's a lot of fun. It keeps me busy. Steve, as I walked in today and got ready to sit down on the set here, I was told that today is the 1-year anniversary of Orion Today, our live version that we do here in the studio. We did do a version of Orion Today prior to that, which was the class final project for our 10-week video production classes, but we decided to go monthly, or actually every 2 weeks
Every
or so,
2 weeks, yeah.
to do a live broadcast that got all our staff and volunteers involved, and it's been a lot of fun. Were you there for episode 1?
I believe I was. Yeah, the word went out for we need help on cameras and sound and whatnot. So yeah, we've been volunteering for the past year.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Dorinda, his wife, does audio in the control room, and Steve is usually behind the cameras, but he's out here today joining us, which is fitting considering it's our anniversary. And someone was nice enough to bring in a cake to celebrate the occasion. And any day I come into work and there's a cake waiting for me, that's a good day.
Yeah. Who doesn't like a good piece of cake every once in a while?
That's right.
Yeah.
So we're going to be cutting that up in a little bit. Something I wanted to announce, which I'm hoping some people are going to be excited, is on Friday I had some friends, Jason Klaus, who hosts the program here at ONTV, went out to join him and some friends out in Holly to do some karaoke. And it was an 80s themed karaoke, and people were encouraged to dress up, and a lot of people did. It was a lot of fun. And I was introduced to their karaoke DJ, Cassandra, and we got to talking, and I said, we used to do a program here at ONTV, karaoke on TV, and she said, I would love to get that up and going again. So she's going to be stopping by a little bit later today, and we may be getting our karaoke ONTV program up and going again. So
that'll be interesting.
So you heard it here first, and hopefully we'll bring that back. That was a lot of fun. They got a lot of bodies here in the studio to come up on this stage and sing live karaoke. So yeah. So hopefully we'll be celebrating an anniversary of karaoke on TV soon too. So, and our very first guest, I'm told, for Orion Today was Roger Broder of the Lake Orion Lions. He was our very first guest 1 year ago.
Oh.
So
that kind of makes sense because
promoting the Lions racing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that pretty much brings this episode of Orion Today to a close. Steve, thanks for filling in and pulling double duty today.
It was my pleasure. It was a little bit different being on this side of the camera. So
we'll have to do it again.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching, and we will see you in 2 weeks with our next live edition of Orion Today. We'll see you then.